What type of alkanol is 2-methylpropan-1-ol? What type of alkanol is 2-methylpropan-1-ol? So the first thing I would want to do here is to draw out the structure for 2-methylpropan-1-ol. Alright, so 2-methylpropan-1-ol, the parent compound here is a propane. Alright, it is a propane. So I would have how many carbon atoms? I would have 3 carbon atoms. So this is 1, 2, 3. Alright, so this is a propane. So the compound is 2-methylpropan-1-ol. Propan-1-ol. So 1-ol is telling me that the hydroxyl group is at carbon 1, is at the first carbon. Alright, so this is the first carbon here. So the OH group will be here. Alright, the OH group will be here. Then I have 2-methylpropan-1-ol. So the propan-1-ol, the 1-ol is telling me that the hydroxyl group is at the first carbon. Then 2-methyl is telling me that in carbon 2, I have a methyl group, CH3. Alright, so this is your 2-methylpropan-1-ol. Very simple. Alright, 2-methyl telling me that the methyl group, there is a methyl group at carbon 2. Propan-1-ol is telling me that this parent compound is a propane and that the hydroxyl group 1-ol is at what? Position 1. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to fill the rest bonds with what? Hydrogen. So this is hydrogen, 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 and this is hydrogen. So what type of alkanol is 2-methylpropan-1-ol? So we've drawn the structure. Alright, so how many alkyl group are attached to this carbon atom bearing the hydroxyl group? Because this is the carbon atom that is carrying this hydroxyl group. How many alkyl group are attached to it? We have just one alkyl group that is attached to it. Alright, we have just one alkyl group attached to it. So therefore, 2-methylpropan-1-ol is an example of a primary alkanol. Alright, why is it a primary alkanol? Because we have just one alkyl group attached to the carbon atom bearing the hydroxyl group. Another way you can look at it is to look at the hydrogen bonds attached to the carbon atom bearing the hydroxyl group. So if you have two hydrogen bonds attached to the carbon atom bearing the hydroxyl group, that is a primary alkanol. Alright, then if you have just one hydrogen atom attached to the carbon atom bearing the hydroxyl group, it is a secondary alkanol. Then if you don't have hydrogen atom attached to the carbon atom bearing the hydroxyl group, that is a tertiary alkanol. Alright, so in other words, let me put this down, that primary alkanol, we have two hydrogen atoms attached to the carbon atom bearing the hydroxyl group. Secondary alkanols, we have just one hydrogen atom. Alright, they will have one hydrogen atom attached to the carbon atom bearing the hydroxyl group. While tertiary alkanols, we have no hydrogen atom, alright, attached to the carbon atom bearing the hydroxyl group. So if you look at this, we have two hydrogen atoms, alright, attached to this carbon atom bearing the hydroxyl group. So this is an example of a primary alkanol.